At the beginning of the movie, we are taken back to 1985, to the rocky coastline of Maine. A violent storm is tearing the shore apart when Thomas Curry, a quiet and decent lighthouse keeper, spots something impossible. A woman, unconscious, washed up on the rocks below. She's barely alive, clutching a strange trident even in the grip of unconsciousness, as if her hands know something her mind doesn't. Thomas doesn't ask questions. He carries her inside. When she finally opens her eyes, the fear is immediate. She's on her feet in a second, trident raised, ready to fight. But Thomas doesn't back down and doesn't reach for anything. He just speaks calmly, telling her she wasn't breathing, that she's safe. Something about his steadiness stops her. She loses consciousness again before she can say a word. Over the next several days, Thomas tends to her wounds, keeps her warm, and brings her food. When she wakes up truly hungry for the first time, she does something that would horrify most people. She grabs his pet fish and eats it raw, without hesitation. Thomas pauses for just a moment, and then quietly offers her a cup of tea. That cup of tea earns him a smile. Her name, she eventually tells him, is Atlanta, and she is the Queen of Atlantis. She had been running from an arranged marriage she never wanted, from a life below the surface she couldn't breathe inside. And somehow, in this small lighthouse by the sea, she finds everything she was actually looking for. They fall in love. Against every law of two worlds, they build a life together. And soon, they have a son, Arthur. But peace like that never lasts. One night, Atlantean soldiers breach the lighthouse. They found her. They're taking her back by order of King Orvax. Thomas hides the baby while Atlanta fights them off brilliantly. But she knows the truth even as she defeats them. More will come. They will never stop hunting her. And if they find Arthur, a child born of two worlds, neither world will protect him. Before she leaves, she makes Thomas a promise. One day, when it's safe, she will return. And then she's gone, taken back to a world beneath the waves that Thomas can't follow her into. Thomas raises Arthur alone. Every single morning, he walks down to the docks and looks out at the ocean. Waiting. We are introduced to young Arthur, and right away, it's clear he doesn't belong anywhere. At school, kids call him a freak. He's different in ways he can't explain and can't hide. He talks to fish, and the fish seem to talk back. The world around him treats that like a problem. Arthur learns early that being different comes with a price. But then comes the moment at the aquarium that changes everything. Arthur is standing in front of the shark tank when a massive shark slams violently into the glass. Not at him, but for him, protecting him. The shark goes still when Arthur meets its eyes, like two creatures recognizing each other across a barrier. Everyone watching realizes in that moment that this boy is something else entirely. We cut to years later. Arthur Curry is now a grown man, tall, tattooed, built like something the sea itself would hesitate to mess with. He's been quietly doing what he does, protecting people, but not because someone asked him to, and definitely not for Atlantis. Deep in the ocean, a group of pirates has hijacked a nuclear Russian submarine. These aren't nervous amateurs. They're brutal, professional, and armed. Until the lights go out, something hits the hull from the outside, and before anyone can process what's happening, the submarine hatch is blown open, and a massive figure drops inside. Arthur Curry, now known to the world as Aquaman, moves through the pirates like they're training dummies. He frees the crew. He dismantles the operation. He's almost out the door when the pirate leader, Jesse Kane, and his son David make their last play, a powerful weapon that hits Arthur and barely slows him down. Arthur retaliates, injures Jesse, and leaves him stranded inside the damaged sub. But as Arthur moves to leave, Jesse fires again. The shot ricochets. Water begins flooding in. The chaos dislodges a massive gas cylinder, and it comes crashing down directly onto Jesse's leg, pinning him. David Kane drops everything and tries to free his father. He can't budge it. Desperate, knowing time is running out, he looks at Arthur, the man who did this, and begs for help. Arthur looks back at Jesse Kane. He thinks of the innocent sailors this man has killed, and he makes a choice. He leaves. Jesse Kane, with his final breath, locks eyes with his son and gives him one last instruction. Then he pulls the pin on a grenade. The submarine is consumed in an explosion. David survives. But David Kane, the pirate's son, died in that blast alongside his father. What climbs out of those waters is something else entirely. A man hollowed out by grief and filled back up with nothing but revenge. Meanwhile, deep beneath the surface, in the grand underwater city of Atlantis, we are introduced to King Orm, Arthur's half-brother. They share the same mother, Atlanta, but everything else about them is different. Orm is controlled, precise, and burning with a vision. He believes the surface world is a plague, pumping pollution into the oceans, sending submarines dangerously close to Atlantean territory. He wants to strike first. He wants to be declared Ocean Master, ruler of all 7 underwater kingdoms, and he wants to launch the largest military force the deep has ever assembled against the world above. To do that, he needs alliances. He begins with King Nereus, ruler of the kingdom of Zebel, who also happens to be the father of Mera, a powerful water-wielding warrior who has been promised to Orm in marriage. Nereus isn't immediately convinced. He thinks humanity will destroy itself without Atlantis needing to lift a finger. He mentions whispers of a half-breed heir, Arthur, who technically has a claim to the throne. Orm dismisses Arthur with contempt, but his hatred goes deeper than political rivalry. He blames Arthur and the surface world for what happened to Atlanta. Then something happens that changes everything. During Orm's meeting with Nereus, a submarine attack kills several of their men. Nereus, now shaken, agrees to form an alliance with Orm. What we learn later, and what makes your stomach drop, is that the submarine attack wasn't a surprise at all. Orm arranged it. He hired David Kane to stage the entire thing. One manufactured crisis, and suddenly Orm has the alliance he needed. The war machine begins moving. Back on the surface, Arthur is helping his very proud, very tipsy father out of a bar when a woman appears out of nowhere and tells him Atlantis needs him. Her name is Mera. She is fierce, direct, and carries herself like someone who doesn't waste time on people who aren't listening. Arthur isn't listening. He tells her the same thing he's told every Atlantean messenger who's ever come to find him. He owes Atlantis nothing. That world took his mother. Let it deal with its own problems. Mera tries to explain what's coming, that Orm isn't just posturing. He's genuinely preparing for a full-scale assault on the surface world. The only way to stop him is for Arthur to claim the throne. But to claim the throne, he needs to find the legendary Trident of King Atlan, a weapon so powerful it was lost to history, hidden away by the first ruler of Atlantis when the civilization fractured and fell. Arthur gets in the truck and drives away. But then the coastline explodes. Orm's first warning, a massive tsunami, comes crashing toward them with no notice. Arthur floors the accelerator, but the wave overtakes the truck in seconds. Thomas is knocked unconscious, and then Mera is there, standing in the chaos, using her hydrokinesis to form a protective air bubble around the wreckage, then kneeling beside Thomas to revive him with water pulled from thin air. Arthur watches his father breathe again and looks at the devastation around them. He agrees to go. Nothing prepares Arthur for Atlantis. The city is staggering. Lights, structures, life forms, technology that makes the surface world look primitive. But he doesn't have time to take it in. Mera leads him straight to Vulko, Atlanta's old royal advisor, who trained Arthur in secret during his youth. Vulko lays it out plainly. Orm is close to uniting enough kingdoms to trigger the war. The only thing that can stop it is Arthur taking the throne. And the only way anyone in Atlantis will accept Arthur as their king is if he retrieves the Trident of Atlan. The Trident, Vulko explains, wasn't just a weapon. It was the symbol of the first king's authority, capable of commanding all life in the sea and granting its wielder dominion over the world's oceans. When ancient Atlantis destroyed itself through its own arrogance, sinking beneath the waves in a catastrophic event, King Atlan disappeared into exile, taking the Trident with him. No one has seen either since. Vulko presents a recording device found by archaeologists, believed to contain Atlan's final message, including the location of the Trident. The problem? It requires equipment found only in the ancient Deserter Kingdom, a lost civilization buried in the Sahara Desert. Before they can move, Orm's soldiers find them. The meeting site explodes. Vulko and Mera scatter. Arthur fights and loses. Outnumbered, in unfamiliar territory, in water. He's captured and dragged before his half-brother. Standing before Orm for the first time, Arthur sees someone carrying a lifetime of carefully managed hatred. Orm tells him that Atlanta was executed, sentenced to death in the trench for the crime of having a half-breed son. He blames Arthur for it. When Orm asks if Arthur has come to challenge him, Arthur says yes. The duel is set. Orm accepts gleefully. The stakes? Winner takes everything. Loser dies. The entire Atlantean population assembles to watch. The arena is terrifying, a ring of volcanic lava deep underwater, with crowds surrounding it on all sides. Orm fights with the precision and power of someone who has spent his entire life preparing for exactly this moment. Arthur fights with instinct and heart, and nowhere near enough training for this environment. It goes badly. Orm dominates, and just as he moves to deliver the killing blow, Mera intervenes. She traps Orm in an air pocket, buys Arthur the seconds he needs, and they flee. They hide inside the mouth of a colossal sea creature that Arthur communicates with, convincing it to shelter them while Orm's soldiers search the water. Eventually, Orm's forces pull back, believing them dead. The mission continues. In the Sahara, Arthur and Mera find the Deserter Kingdom buried beneath centuries of sand, an ancient civilization that once lived on the surface before retreating underground. Inside its temple, they locate the device and activate Atlan's recording. A hologram appears, King Atlan himself, speaking across centuries. He describes the Trident's power. He reveals that the path to it lies beyond the hidden sea, accessible through a map concealed inside a bottle. But the map can only be read by a true king. A bottle rises from a hidden compartment in the temple floor. Inside, a map pointing to Sicily, Italy. The moment they arrive, Mera, who has lived underwater her entire life, stops being the focused warrior and becomes something almost childlike with wonder. The colors, the street life, the food. Arthur watches her and sees, maybe for the first time, that the world he's always taken for granted is extraordinary to someone seeing it fresh. But they don't get long. David Kane finds them. He's no longer just a pirate's son. Orm has supplied him with prototype Atlantean technology, a mechanized suit and weaponry far beyond anything the surface world has produced. He has renamed himself. He is now Black Manta. The fight through Sicily's rooftops and alleyways is brutal. Black Manta's suit gives him a genuine edge. Arthur takes damage. Mera fights off Orm's soldiers simultaneously, who have come to bring her back for treason. Eventually, Arthur overpowers Black Manta, sending him crashing off a cliff into the sea far below. But during the fight, Manta reveals something. Mera's ceremonial bracelet, the one Orm gave her, contains a tracking device. Every move they've made, Orm's people have known about. Mera smashes it. Their path leads to the Trench, a section of the ocean so dark and so deep that most Atlanteans refuse to even speak its name. It is the place where Atlanta was supposedly executed. It is home to creatures that exist in a dimension of nightmare. When they reach it, it doesn't disappoint. The Trench creatures come in the hundreds, fast, savage, overwhelming. Arthur and Mera fight with everything they have, using flares to drive the creatures back long enough to find the portal leading to the hidden sea. The portal can only be crossed one at a time. Arthur refuses to leave Mera behind. He grabs her hand and tries to pull her through with him. The portal tears them apart. Mera loses consciousness, drifting into the darkness, toward the creatures, until someone pulls her to safety. When she wakes on the shore of the hidden sea, and her rescuer removes their helmet, we are introduced to someone the movie has been building toward from its very first scene, Atlanta, alive. Arthur arrives and sees his mother standing on the shore of a world no one was supposed to ever find. The emotion of this moment is everything. 20 years of anger, of guilt, of absence, all of it crashes into the simple fact that she is alive, and she is here, and she never stopped loving them. Atlanta explains what happened. Orvax sentenced her to death in the Trench. But she survived. She fought, she endured, and she found herself stranded in the hidden sea with no way out. The portal that brought Arthur here moves only one direction. The only exit is through the Trident, if he can claim it. Arthur asks about Tom. She asks if he still waits by the water every morning. He does. Atlanta directs Arthur to a waterfall nearby and tells him his destiny is behind it. What she doesn't fully prepare him for is the Carathan. Behind the waterfall, Arthur finds the skeleton of King Atlan, ancient, still clutching the trident after countless centuries. And then the Carathan awakens. It is a Leviathan, a creature of such impossible scale that it makes everything else in the ocean look small. Voiced with quiet, devastating authority, it speaks directly to Arthur. It tells him he is the least worthy of all who have ever sought the trident. It calls him a half-breed. It throws him across the cavern like he's nothing. And Arthur, broken, battered, on the edge of death, does something no one else has ever done here. He stops fighting, and he tells the truth. He says he knows he isn't worthy. He says he knows he has no right to be here, but he needs the trident, not for himself, not for a throne, but to protect people. Both the surface world and the sea, both worlds that made him. The Carathan goes still. It tells him that no one has spoken to it since King Atlan himself, centuries ago. That in all the would-be kings who came seeking the trident by force, not one had the honesty to admit weakness. It steps aside. Arthur reaches out and takes the trident from Atlan's skeleton, and the moment his hand closes around it, the power of the ocean's history moves through him. The golden armor of Atlantis materializes around him. He is no longer Arthur Curry, reluctant hero. He is the king. Orm has nearly completed his plan. He has bribed, coerced, and where necessary, murdered his way to the support of Atlantis' kingdoms, including killing King Riku of the Fisherman's Kingdom, to force their army into his ranks. He stands at the Brine Kingdom, the last holdout, ready to crush it. Then something appears above the battlefield that stops every army cold. Arthur, riding the Carathan itself, a creature so massive and so ancient that every soldier present knows exactly what it means, crashes into the conflict. He raises the Trident of Atlan, and the sea responds. Creatures from every corner of the ocean surge to his side. Mera approaches Nereus and shows him the trident. The old king's certainty crumbles. He commands his forces to stand down and acknowledges Arthur as his king. Orm and Arthur face each other on the open surface of the ocean, just the two of them, finally, with no armies left to hide behind. It is a fight between brothers, between two halves of the same world. Orm is powerful and technically superior, but Arthur carries something Orm never has, the ability to fight for something bigger than himself. Arthur disarms Orm, puts him on the ground, commands him to yield. Orm refuses, tells Arthur to kill him. Arthur declines, and then Atlanta appears. Orm stares at his mother, the woman he was told died because of Arthur, alive, standing before him, looking at him with nothing but grief and love. She tells him that the world Orvax taught him to believe in was a lie, that the surface and the sea were never meant to be enemies, that she never stopped loving him either. Something in Orm breaks, not in defeat, in relief. The war he built his life around loses its entire foundation in that moment. Vulko arrives to take Orm into custody. There will be no execution, only consequence. Mera announces Arthur as the new king of Atlantis. Every army present erupts into recognition, his name carried through the water and the air simultaneously. The next morning, Thomas Curry does what he has done every single morning for 20 years. He walks to the dock. He looks out at the water, and she's there. Atlanta is standing on the dock, waiting for him, in the morning light. 2 decades of distance collapse, in the space of a few steps. He walks to her, she stays, and for the first time in 20 years, the lighthouse has everyone it was supposed to have. Beneath the waves, Arthur Curry takes his place on the throne of Atlantis, not as a conqueror, not as a man who was forced into something, but as a king who chose to be worthy of it. And somewhere far below, in the darkness, a mid-credits scene reminds us that David Kane, Black Manta, survived his fall in Sicily. He's been found by a scientist obsessed with proving Atlantis exists, and the two of them have just made a deal. The war for one king may be over, but the next one is already being planned. And that, right there, is the story of a man who spent his whole life running from who he was, and discovered that the only thing powerful enough to save 2 worlds was finally accepting himself. Now here's what I need from you. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, and you're still not subscribed, what are you actually doing? Every week we break down movies like this, giving you the full story, the emotional beats, the moments that hit different. You're going to miss the next one. Hit subscribe right now. It takes literally 2 seconds and it means everything. And drop a comment below. I want to know, did Arthur make the right call leaving Jesse Kane to die? Because that one decision created Black Manta, and it nearly cost Arthur everything. Let me know what you think down there. I read every single one.